Hello, I'm Roy Ruddle, and this video shows you the fifth step of the six-step data quality method. I've been working in data quality for more than 10 years, and we developed the method with input from data scientists and analysts working in more than 15 industry domains. The method is freely available, and you can download it from this GitHub link. We have designed the six-step method to let you investigate the quality of your data efficiently, rigorously, and reproducibly. The benefits include enabling you to do more in less time, because the method tells you what to do, reducing cost, because we have grouped data quality checks into a carefully thought out order, and letting you get better results, because by following our method you will understand the limitations of your data, correct any misheld assumptions, and clean your data as you progress through the 6 steps. We have created 7 videos, an overview as well as a different video for each step. This video shows you how to do step 5 in a worked example. We are using the same car parking fines dataset as in steps 1 and 4. The whole dataset spans 9 years, but in these steps we're using just one of the data files, which is for fines issued from January to March 2019. There are 8 variables: an identifier for each parking fine, the date it was issued, the location, the contravention, and the amount of the fine, and then 3 variables to do with payments: the last pay date, total paid, and balance. We found a number of issues with this dataset in the previous steps. We removed the superfluous empty column in step 1, but 2 outstanding issues that we're going to look into in this step concern the last pay date and total paid, and the fine, total paid, and balance. In step 4, we cleaned up the contravention and location values by stripping leading and trailing spaces, but there's still an outstanding issue where we noticed that some PCNs were issued in 2009, a small number in 2017, 2018, and most in the time period of the dataset itself, which is January to March 2019. The purpose of this step is to check issues concerning combinations of variables. We're going to focus on 2 tasks: assumptions and functional dependencies. So a functional dependency are things that you know should be correct in data, certain relationships which should hold true in the data. For example, the relationship between a fine, the total paid, and the balance. Whereas an assumption is something that the data scientist thinks should be the case in the data, but which may or may not be true. It may be that the data is incorrect, or it may be that the data scientist's assumption is incorrect. There are other tasks that you can consider doing in this step, for example, checking for inconsistent units, inconsistent values, integrity violations, and implausible changes in values. As I said before, the method is freely available. You can use any software to perform the 6-step data quality method. However, in these videos, we're using Python, the Viz data quality package, and Jupyter notebooks. Now let's do the actual analysis for step 5. Now, when I originally did step 5 on this data set, I ran into a number of dead ends after following different avenues of investigation. What I'm presenting in this video is a simplified version where I've divided up the checks into 3 different periods of issued dates. The very old PCNs that we found in step 4 and also noticed at the very beginning in step 1, the recent PCNs, and then finally the PCNs that were issued only in the quarter that relates to this particular data file period. I start by including the Viz data quality library and some other libraries that I need, and then I read in the data file using information I have from the previous step, so I know it's ASCII encoded, I know how the dates are stored. I'm dropping the unnamed empty column that I found in step 1, and I'm stripping leading and trailing spaces from the location and contravention values, which are found in step 4. As we know from steps 1 and 4, there are some old PCNs in this data file. It's possible that they're actually correct, but the first thing I'm going to do is to count how many PCNs are in this particular data file from the various years. And when I do that, I see that there are 93 from 2009, 7 from 2017, 930 from 2018, and 2,911 from 2019. The data file, of course, is for the quarter January to March 2019. I'm going to start by just looking at those old PCNs that were issued in 2009. Using the convenience functions from VisDataQuality, I calculate the number of unique values for each variable for those PCNs. So I see that there are 93 PCNs. There are in fact 93 rows as well, so each one occurs once. A number of different issued dates and locations and so forth, but interestingly, only one last pay date, total paid, and balance. Having done that, I print out some of these unique values. So the fines are 50 and 70 pounds. Well, that makes sense. All of the last pay dates are the 28th of March 2019. All of the total paid values are 0, and all of the balance values are 0. This is clearly rather odd. It would need further investigation if I was going to use this 2009 data in any analysis. Moving on, let's look at the PCNs that were issued fairly recently, so 2017 onward. I'm going to do a number of checks. The first of them is to check for functional dependencies, and specifically to check that the last pay date is never earlier than the issued date. And when I do that check, I find that everything's okay, that this is in fact true. The last pay date is either the same as or after the issued date. It's always a good idea to think about the order in which dates should occur. Next, I'm going to check some assumptions I have about the data. First of all, I'm assuming that each contravention only has one value of fine. That is, the fine in a contravention hasn't been increased over time, which is possible. And I do that check, I find that this is in fact correct. Each contravention only has a single value of fine. Next, I know that some of the PCNs occur in multiple rows. It's plausible that the fine may be paid incrementally. So what I want to check is that the total that is paid always increases over time. This logic that we're looking at here runs through that check. And what I find actually is this assumption is simply not true. In every single row that is the second or subsequent row for a PCN, the total paid did not increase. I was so surprised by that, I then did a sanity check by doing the same check in a totally different way and find that I was indeed correct. Now I'm going to narrow my investigation even further and only look at the PCNs that were issued in the current quarter, January to March 2019. So this includes PCNs that were in the previous check, but not all of them. Even when we looked at the example values in the very first step, we noticed that the fine, total paid and balance didn't add up. So checking through this, the first thing I'm doing is finding out how many times each of these PCNs that was issued in the current quarter occurs. Some of them occur once, others occur as many as 4 times. That in itself is okay. And then what I'm going to do is to print out just one example from each of those PCNs. So one example of a PCN that occurs once, one example of a PCN that occurs twice, another 3 times, another 4 times. And you see this issued here to try to understand the data. With the one that occurs once, the fine's £50, £25 was paid. Why on earth is the balance 50? I don't know. The thing that strikes me about the other 3 examples is that in all cases, the total paid and the balance never changes, which I find even odder. And not only that, we have a case of, okay, fine of £50 paid, a balance of 0, yes, but a fine of 50, total paid 25, and the balance is also 0. Well, what's going on there? And similarly in the last case. We can look at this relationship between the fine and total paid and the balance where we've subtracted them away, and if simple logic was working, the result would be 0, which we see in a few cases. But actually the most common result is the remainder is 25. That could be true if the person was getting a discount for paying their fine within 14 days, which you could compute from the actual dates within the data file. That brings us to the end of the step 5 checks. The bottom line of these is it does not feel safe to be using the fine paid data in subsequent analysis. So in step 6, the final step of the data quality method, for this particular data set, we're only going to be using the fine issued data. So to summarize this step, we tackled it by investigating the data in 3 groups. First of all, the PCNs that were issued in 2009. Secondly, were the recent PCNs 2017 onward. And thirdly, a subset of those, which was the PCNs that were issued in the actual quarter concerned, January to March 2019. Some of our checks proved successful. We found that the issued date was always the same as or before the last pay date. And we found that each contravention had a constant value of fine across all of the time period. However, we also found some issues. One of those was that the total paid for a PCN never changed when there were multiple records for that PCN. And the second one was that the mathematical relationship between the fine, total paid, and balance was inconsistent. And on top of that, we couldn't account for those inconsistencies by using dates to identify when discounts were given or surcharges were payable. Once again, if you'd like to download the method, you can do so freely from this GitHub link. If you have any questions, then do feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.